Welcome to a Reddit After Dark with me, your host, Jennymarie. Today we're going to be reading Reddit AITA, but this is hypothetical. Would I be the a-hole if I didn't invite my dad's wife to my high school graduation? Let's get into it. Notice how I said my dad's wife and not my stepmom. I don't see her in that capacity at all. English is not my first language, and he is 18. My parents had a rough divorce, and my dad immediately moved out and got married to his former high school girlfriend, the one he had before his mom. So, my dad's wife was someone who was forced into my life without me wanting her in it. She doesn't have kids, so she's always clingy and trying to make it seem like me and my sister are her kids, and we are this one happy big family. In my opinion, and excuse my language, she is emotionally and socially a dumbass. She just doesn't know how to act. Once, when they first got married, they had a get together, and me and the kids were apparently making lots of noise, so she took us to a room and locked us in. She was inside with us. She refused to let us out unless we vowed to not make any more noise, and we were 6 and 7. Would love to add the fact that I got a lot of shit for that because she was just joking, and I don't know how to take a joke. She just doesn't know how to act. This is going to sound crazy, but I actually love her mother, my dad's mother in law. She stood by my side during a lot of problems and has called out her daughter's behavior. That is awesome. Go, Grandma. Now, my graduation is coming up. My mom thinks I need to invite her because I have previously stayed over at her vacation home, in addition to the fact that she doesn't have kids and I am the closest thing she'll ever have to kids. She's raised you for the last 11 years or so, from when it even longer, possibly. Now, she and my dad were very horrible to me in their first year of marriage. Never mind. So, personally, I've never liked her and still kind of resent my dad for the way things went. I don't have enough tickets to invite her anyway. In addition to the fact that even if I did, I want to invite people that in a way or another raised me or helped my parents raise me. Very smart kid. Those include my grandparents, my aunt and uncle, who one of which doesn't have a kid, and I'm the actual closest thing he'll ever have to a kid, in addition to the fact that I share last name with him. My mom thinks it's going to be very awkward for my dad to leave the house to go to my graduation and for her to ask him and for him to reply and say, "My name's graduation." I think it's insanely inappropriate for her to be there. My mom is trying to avoid problems with my dad, but what business does she have being at the same event concerning me with my mom and grandma? Personally, I don't care about what people will think. I care about my happiness and the fact that I don't want her there. I feel like I shouldn't need to justify this to anyone, and it's my decision. He is right. I probably need to get over a lot of things that happened in the past, but that's an issue for another day. Inviting her won't change. Just to add, if I wanted to invite her, I'd have to sacrifice inviting one of my aunts or uncles, which I'm not doing, and I'd rather not have a graduation than invite her. Also, I wasn't invited to their wedding. He wasn't even invited to their wedding. But they were young, it seems like. Because if she was telling them they were being too loud at 6 and 7. Anyway, okay, here's the update. When I wrote that post, I wrote it as a hypothetical scenario, despite my mom and brother's warnings. I thought my dad wasn't going to ask me to invite his wife, but boy, was I wrong. After I wrote the post, I went to my mom and told her that there will be no graduation if his wife comes. I then listed a bunch of shit she did over the past few months. Oldest was November 2025, and my mom was shocked. One of these things was her trying to turn my dad against me because I didn't tell him my school grades. The reason I don't is because he goes and runs to her and tells her everything. My mom sided with me ultimately. 2 weeks after the post, I was in the supermarket with my dad, and he told me to do him a favor. Invite your stepmom. Initially, I told him I wished I could, but there wasn't enough tickets. He then told me, no problem, I'll call his uncle and tell him not to come. He was really willing to not have his brother come just to appease his wife. I mean, I understand. I have a daughter who she graduated high school 2 years ago. I get it. I mean, you want the people who raised them and got them through high school to see them graduate, because sometimes it is a group effort. Okay. I told him no. There's not enough tickets, and that it'd be very inappropriate for her to be there with my grandma and mother attending. He told me that I'd be making him a huge problem and that he might not be able to come. So I told him, good riddance. Good riddance. Now you're making it so I can be able to invite my friends who weren't able to come. Then he secretly went to my brother and started getting mad at his wife, saying that she's causing him problems and he's sick of her and whatnot. After I got home, I think there's a language barrier there, and that I don't really understand what he's saying, but I think I might. So he told him no, that you are not going to swap the tickets. I want my uncle there. She can stay behind. I told him good riddance. Now you're making it so I can be able to invite my friends. So is he saying he's not inviting his dad now? I don't get it. After I got home, he started talking badly about my mom and her family, saying that he's paying for tickets, which are $200, and that they're coming on his pay. Then he started insulting my mother's brother and my grandma, saying how they're coming on his pay and how he doesn't like them. I immediately went to the bathroom and messaged my mom to pay the tickets, to which she did, to which he was at shock. Then he started saying how upset his wife would be and whatnot. And I told him it's your job as a husband to tell her when you can't get something done for her. Not everything she asks it not everything she asks is going to be possible, especially at my expense. He then started breaking and told me that his wife came to him and said, "Why did me not invite me to his graduation when I want to make a large family gathering to celebrate him?" I told him that you're making a very big deal out of nothing. She just asked a question. You could have said there's not enough tickets. You didn't need to talk to me about any of this. I then told him that he better tell his wife that whatever gathering she makes, I'm not attending. Anyway, a couple of days later was my senior trip. So on the day before, I called him and I told him that just to get the facts straight, I don't want your wife there. It's not my mom or grandma, it's the fact that I don't want her there. She was kind of shocked at that, but then I was boarding the plane, so I had to hang up. I haven't seen his wife really since a couple of days before the original post. I saw her briefly in a funeral 2 weeks ago, to which I was very cold and distant. Going on, I'm not going to their house and I'll be cutting contact with her completely. Yesterday was my graduation and his wife didn't attend, but my dad did come. It was a lovely day where I was surrounded by people who love and respect me, not people who try to force themselves into my life. Now, I want to say I thought I could relate because I thought that he was 18 when she came into his life, but he was much younger. So I can't really relate. But I do have divorced parents. They got divorced when I was 22, and it was really hard. I was also going through a divorce and I was going through it. And then my dad, drops a bomb and divorces my mom, and it just was a mess. And now, I'm glad they're not together now, but it does wreck a family. Divorces suck. They really suck. And they didn't even invite their kids to their wedding. I will say I married my husband at the JP office and my daughter wasn't there, but it was kind of on a whim. So I don't think he did anything wrong. I don't think he's the asshole or anything. I think there weren't enough tickets. She wasn't someone that was that important in his life. Obviously, she should have been fine with that, you know? Anyway, all right, we can judge these guys respectfully in the comments. They are officially open. Be nice or at least be funny. Please, please be kind in the comments. If you have a story to share, you may do that. I'm so glad you joined me tonight reading these stories. I'm going to try to get it edited and put onto TikTok. I might just put this on YouTube as well and see how that goes. I don't know. And I'm really glad you guys talked me into it. Only a few of you did, but I have other people in other places that say read Reddit. And if you find some juicy Reddit stories and you want me to read them, send them my way. You can DM them to me, whatever you want to do. We'll read some different ones tomorrow, but I did enjoy that. And we'll say that, marriage is hard, but if you have children and your partner is not hurting you or anybody else like themselves or other people, then I don't see the reason to get divorced over nothing. We have to stick it out because we're only human. unless they're cheating on you. Now, oh my God, I get so scared. I don't know why I would think my husband would ever cheat on me. That would be so stupid. It would cost so much money. Hopefully, he understands that. Not that he would anyway, it's not in his character, but it's happened before. So, if you know, it's always in the back of your mind, right? Anyway, I enjoyed it with you guys tonight. Please stay safe, take care of each other, and be nice in the comments. And like I said, if you're not going to be nice, at least be funny. Love y'all. Good night. Bye.